Okay, so we got up to Erev Pesach. We did the Bedikat Chametz, checking for Chametz and burning the Chametz, and we also discussed the Tanit, right?
No.
Did we? We didn't?
No.
Oh, okay, so we'll do that. So, first of all, on Erev Pesach, it is asur to do melacha after midday. Right? After midday is asur to do melacha. What is melacha? We're going to say what melacha is. Like, you could turn the lights on and off. There are two reasons for this. Number one is so that a person should not get busy with like doing things, and then he won't prepare the things of the seder. Like, he gets busy doing his own his construction, let's say, and then he'll forget about the seder and he won't have the time to do it. Number two reason is when we had the Beit HaMikdash, they would bring the Pesach offering on Erev Pesach in the afternoon, and therefore it would be like a Yom Tov. Whenever a person would bring a Korban offering, it would be like a Yom Tov, that they don't do Melacha. So as a remembrance of that, this is what we do. We don't do Melacha on Erev Pesach.
After what time, sorry?
After Chatzot.
Okay.
Chatzot is what, I think 12:45, if I'm not mistaken. Should be around 12:45. After Chatzot, we don't do Melacha. Now, however, if a person is doing something, has to do something, at least they should stop from the time of Mincha Ketana. Mincha Ketana would be 3 hours before sunset. Sunset is, let's say, 7:30 by then, I think. So around 3 hours before that, like 4 o'clock. So after that, one should not do anything, and Chazal say that if a person does, he won't see beracha from that melacha that he makes. He wants to make money, and he's like doing these things. So from there, he won't get a melacha. However, if he wants to do something to tell a goy to do, this is not like Shabbat that Amirala Akum telling a goy to do something would be asur. He could do it. Now, what melacha are we talking about? Construction, constructing a new, putting together something brand new, like a machinery, or to tailor a new suit, right? These sort of things. That's complete melacha. That would be a suit. But let's say someone's button fell, they want to sew it back on, or even someone has a business online, sells diamonds online, and they could do. That's pragmatia. That's buying and selling. It's not really melacha. That would be allowed, but again, when it's time for Mincha Ketana, one should stop, not to do it. A person is allowed to get a haircut, cut nails, iron shirts, polish shoes, or these sort of things are totally allowed for a person to do. Better to do it earlier, so that in the afternoon you get a good 3-4 hour nap. Now, another prohibition is to eat matzah on the day of the 14th, Erev Pesach, so that you'll eat the matzah with the good appetite on the night of Pesach, right? So that Isur is really the whole day. The night before is fine. If a person wants to eat matzah, that's fine. Matzah ashira. What is matzah ashira? Matzah ashira is matzah that is made out of flour mixed with wine, honey, oil, eggs, egg matzah, that's matzah ashira. It's called the rich man's matzah, as opposed to matzah that we eat on the night of Pesach, which is called lechem oni, the bread of poverty. And so there's definitely a distinction between the two, and one is allowed to eat that. We Sephardim, by the way, we eat matzah ashira on Pesach. Ashkenazim do not eat matzah ashira on Pesach. We could, and we cannot be yotzei with it on the night of Pesach, but duration of Pesach we could. The reason being, Ashkenazim hold that once it gets in contact with any of these liquids, it'll become chametz faster. Shulchan Aruch says otherwise. It says no, it does not become so quickly chametz, and therefore one could eat it. Let's say they take matzah meal, right? They take a matzah and they make a flour out of it, and then they use it for baking. You want to bake a cake, cookies, and whatnot. Are you allowed to eat that on Erev Pesach? No, because that's matzah, right? That's matzah, and we can't. But they have kosher Pesach cookies and stuff, which was made from flour, right? Not from matzah, from flour, which is of course obviously has to be kosher Pesach. That is allowed. Now we're talking about eating. Eating is permissible usually on Erev Shabbat and Erev Yom Tov. We say that one is allowed to eat bikovea seuda, have like a heavy meal, up to Chatzot, up to midday. Here on Erev Pesach, you're allowed to eat up to the 10th hour of the day. That means again almost 3 hours before sunset. Why? Because obvious reason, because we're not gonna eat until way later. We have the whole Haggadah, we have the whole Kadesh Ruchas Kabas Yachas Magid Rosam Mutzi Matzah. Then we could eat Shulchan Aruch, like what I'm saying. After that, but before that, we can't eat. So a person would be starving. So there is an allowance for a person to eat more. But if a person wants to eat, is very hungry and he wants to eat something, you could have fruit, you could have a little bit of rice. These things are allowed. However, you shouldn't indulge on them not to eat so much, because at the end of the day, you're going to have the seder, and we want him to have appetite for the seder. Okay? Erev Pesach, there is another halacha. It's called Ta'anit Bechorot. Ta'anit Bechorot, the reason is that the firstborn male should be fasting on this day. It's a remembrance for a miracle that was done for the firstborn Jews that were in Egypt. Hashem saved them when the firstborn of the Egyptians were dying. So being that, so then they fast as a remembrance of that. Some say that even female firstborn should fast. Our custom, Sephardic custom, is not so. Right? Why? There's different midrashim of exactly what happened, and based on that, they say that they should, because they were also in danger. There's another midrash that is quoted, and they say that the firstborn, why did they have to die? Because all of the priests were the firstborn. That's how it was in Egypt, and these priests were influencing the Jews to go and do avodah zarah, to do idol worship. And that's why they were dying. So the female firstborn of the Egyptians, they weren't priests, and they weren't influencing the Jews, and therefore they weren't dying. So therefore, the female firstborn of the Jews were not in danger. And that's why really they don't have to fast. At any event, this way or that way, these days, being that everybody is very weak, Rabbi says, "Yardah chulsha la'olam," the world is weak, everybody is weak. They don't have that strength and power to fast the whole day and then sit at the seder night. They're gonna fall asleep. You can't do that. So it's gonna cause disturbances. They're gonna, they won't be able to hold up. Because of that, we say, cut the fast by attending a seudat mitzvah. Seudat mitzvah could be a brit milah. Seudat mitzvah could be a pidyon haben at the right time, or sheva brachot for chatan and kala, or as most shuls do, they have a siyum masechet. Right? Someone finishes a portion of the Talmud, and then he makes a seudah. Although this guy never spends money to make his whenever he finishes, but here he's doing it so that people could break their fast. Still, that is fine. We could rely on that, and people should go ahead and attend to break their fast. Now, how does this work? By attending, you are participating in his joy. So a person has to understand what's going on at least. Like, some people say, oh, you know what, you're going, so get me a cup of wine. I don't know, bring me a cookie from there so I could break my fast. It doesn't work. You have to participate. You have to be there and eat something from there. It doesn't have to be grape juice or these sort of things. It could be a cookie. It could be a fruit, whatever it is. Like, a person participates and tries to understand what's going on, and then eat something from there. They can't say, okay, I was here, let me go home and have breakfast. It doesn't work like that. It has to be participating and taking from there and eating, to be part of it. And Bezat Hashem, that would break it. Some say like, if a person has a firstborn and he himself is a firstborn, so then how can he can't fast double? So then his wife should fast for the baby and he will fast for himself, and they'll both have to go to the Beit Knesset. It's if they could do it, fine. If they could do it, but then it's Erev Pesach. Like, you're forcing the mother to come to shul also. If they could, again, fine, not a problem. Okay. Good. That's as far as Ta'anit Bechorot. What else is there? I don't know if I mentioned this last week. A person should not say on the meat that he buys that this meat is for Pesach. The Isur, the prohibition, is really on an animal, because that's the animal you say, this is for Pesach. That means this korban, this lamb here, I'm going to bring as a korban, which is Asur. We don't have the Beit HaMikdash, and you cannot place that sanctity upon the animal. But if you go to the supermarket and you want to buy, from the local butcher shop, the thing, meat, that should be fine. However, we're machmir. We do not say on that meat from the butcher shop as well that this meat is for Pesach. We say it's for Yom Tov, right? The same thing about even for chicken, even for fish. Even for fish, we don't say, this fish is for Pesach. We say, this fish is for Yom Tov. Even though you never bring an offering or chicken for fish or chicken in the Beit HaMikdash, we still don't say that. I know families in Israel, families get together and they all buy like a lamb and they do shachita and they divide up for Yom Tov so that they could have. They have to be very careful not to say that this lamb is for Pesach. That's it. Okay, so that's basically it. Good. Few things about the tefillot of Pesach. Sephardim, they finish the Hallel at night. This is the only night, the 2 nights of Pesach, outside of Eretz Israel, and in Eretz Israel only that night. We finish reciting the whole Hallel with a baracha in the beginning and the end, after Amidah. Okay? And it is a good thing to have intention. This is cute. When we say the Haggadah, we say Hallel. You know that, right? What do we do? Before we drink the second cup, we say the 2 Mizmorim of Hallel, the first and the second, and then we say the Baracha of Baruch Atah Hashem Elokeinu Melech Haolam Asher Ge'alanu, and then we drink the second cup. Okay? Then we eat the matzah, maror, korech, the food, afikoman, and then we say Birkat HaMazon, we say the 3rd cup, and then we pour the 4th cup, and then we continue with the Hallel. That's the reason why we don't make a beracha on the Hallel that we say in the Haggadah. You're saying Hallel, you're praising Hashem, the whole Hallel. You should say beracha, but we don't, because we cut it. We have a huge stop in the middle of saying Hallel. That's why we don't make a beracha. It would be better if when a person says Hallel prior to starting the Kiddush and everything during Arvit, to have in mind, now that I'm making the beracha, it should cover that Hallel that I will be saying in the Haggadah. If a person didn't have the Kavanah, it's still fine. It's good. But this saying Hallel is everyone, men and women. So let's say the lady of the house or the ladies of the house, they were all busy, preparing for Pesach and everything, and they forgot to say Arvit. So when the husbands do come from shul, before starting the Seder night, they should ask, did you guys say Hallel yet? If not, they should wait for the ladies to say Hallel with a beracha in the beginning and the end, and then they start the Seder. Okay, that's a prerequisite. That's a good thing. That should be done. Another thing that we should bear in mind as far as tefillah is concerned, starting the next Shabbat, first day of Pesach, we say Morid Hatal. We don't say Mashiach Baruch Hu Geshem anymore. We say Morid Hatal. And also, Poskim bring down that one should, it's a good thing, I shouldn't say should, it's a good thing to make on the second day of Pesach. This year will be on Sunday. You should have something extra, just a little thing, to remember the miracle of a seudah that Esther Hamalka made on that day, and during which Haman was hung.
Which Sunday is this?
That's the first Sunday of Pesach. Second day of Pesach is the day when Haman was hung, and as a remembrance to that, I don't know, to make something else, make a borekas. Just kidding. Or something extra for the thing. I don't know, a kugel, that would be good, yeah? Or whatever. All right. And when it comes to candle lighting, we make a baracha lahadlik ner shel Yom Tov, and this year the first night is lahadlik ner shel Shabbat Yom Tov, right? Rabbi Ovadia says that one should not make a shechianu when lighting the candles, right? Because anyway, you're going to be saying a shechianu during Kiddush, and but I guess some people have a custom, they don't want to stop their custom, that's something else. As I suggested, and Poskim bring it down even, it is a very good idea to definitely make the kids have a nap on Erev Pesach, and the person himself should, because otherwise, it's a long thing, and you want to be up and around and everything, and everybody falls asleep. You're working so hard before Pesach, so then everybody falls asleep, so then we lose out. We lose out on the thing. So that's extremely important to bear in mind. Another thing that's important, on the second Yom Tov is going to be on Motzei Shabbat. So that's a little bit more. That means during Kiddush, we don't have a regular Kiddush. We have Havdalah also there. So you want to have prepared from before Shabbat something like a candle that you could use, a small candle that you could use on Motzei Shabbat. The next night, during Havdalah, you want to say Borei Moreh Esh. Some people they wake up and say, oh, what are we going to do? What should we use? Should we use the Yom Tov candles? This, that, If we have something prepared from before, we make a note to prepare something from before, that would be great. So because it's Motzei Shabbat, and also it's going to start later, because we're going to wait for Shabbat to end, we can't do anything. If you remember, we learned in the Halachot of Shabbat that preparations are allowed, right? Melachot, you want to start cooking, that we have to wait until Shabbat is totally over. But if a person wants to do some preparations, that they could do around 25 minutes after sunset on that second night of Yom Tov. Another thing to remember is that on Shabbat, so the shirishit will be eaten earlier because of the same idea that we said, that on the eve of Yom Tov, one should not eat until later. Should not eat late. So this is also Shabbat, also is the eve of the second Yom Tov. That's why we try to have mincha earlier on Shabbat, first day of Pesach, and then we'll have earlier Seudah Shirishit, to do the mitzvah of Seudah Shirishit, and then we have time until the night, it's, until the second Yom Tov will begin. Now, preparations for the night of Seder. Number one, a person should definitely set up for themselves a proper place to sit. Because a lot of people, suddenly they find themselves that they have to lean. Ladies, Sephardi ladies, have to lean also. So suddenly they find themselves, and then it's a very uncomfortable position, how to do it. The correct way of leaning, some people think you're sitting on a chair, you just lean towards the left, but then you're leaning on your back. That's not going to cut it. You have to lean totally on your left. I would even turn the chair, the back of the chair, if it's not too high, you turn the back of the chair, or even if it's high, you just lean on that back of the chair. That would be, if it's comfortable. You have to find a comfortable position to be able to lean on your left, right? Lean, yes.
Rabbi Avadi gave a shir the other day, and he actually showed us how to lean. He says, basically put your weight on, if you have an armchair, put your arm on the armchair. You have to keep your head straight so you can drink properly.
Correct.
Or, turn your chair.
Exactly. Some people, even with the armchair, though, is a danger. Because you have the armchair, so you're not only going to lean on the arm, you're also going to lean in the back of the chair as well. That's what a person has to pay attention to. A lot of times, when you have that, then being that you have a support behind you, you're going to lean on that as well. That's not going to be as easy. So when a person, turns the chair, you have no back to support you, you totally put your weight on your left. That would be good. A pillow or whatever makes it comfortable. You're not supposed to be suffering. I see some people, they lean in the air. They're like up in the air, like, it's very awkward. So the person should see to it that, like, because you're going to be leaning 7 times. 4 cups, and then 3 times matzah, right? By matzah, korech, and afikoma. So all these times we need to lean, and why not? Should be. Now, if a person wants to lean on the table, that's also fine, right? Leaning on the table is fine. Leaning on the next person next to you, that'll be fine. But one should not lean on his own leg, because the person there, that's a sign of worry. That's a sign of, like, sadness. Like when a person puts his hand on his own leg, and it's not very comfortable. So that's number one. The person should see to it that the guests, they should have the ability to sit comfortably and to be able to do a sebah. If a person, men, if they forgot to lean, they have to re-drink. They have to drink again. Ladies, if they lean, they don't have to. If they forgot to lean, they don't have to drink again. Because the whole thing is a question if ladies are obligated to lean or are not obligated to lean. So if they forgot, then they don't have to repeat. If someone is not feeling well, right, and he says, "Oops, I forgot to lean," like, he's gonna get sick if he drinks again. You can't tell him, "Oh, you didn't lean, drink," like, drink again. We're not gonna make him do that, and that's it. As they bring down that red wine is the preferred wine, even though the white wine is even more of a fancier wine, but we prefer still red wine. Better that it's not mevushal, because in the Beit HaMikdash, when they would bring the wine, every korban that they would bring, every offering, they would have to bring wine, and that wine, if it was cooked wine, it was not, you cannot use it. That's the whole idea of mevushal, that a goy, by touching it, does not make it yain nesach, because once it's cooked, they wouldn't use it for avodah zarah, for idol worship. That is why we say, use yain mevushal. So then, if a person has a person that's considered a goy by the Seder table, and it would be scary if they have non-mevushal wine, in that case, so what do? We say, be very careful, extremely careful with that. Now, the cup is, even though it's clean, Kabbalistically, we wash it. Every time we want to use it, we wash it, unless you have a huge cup and you can't drink the whole thing. It's, you just want to drink about 2 ounces of it, right? And then you have this cup that's going to be enough for 3 people to drink. So obviously in that case, you don't have to wash it every time, because it's got your wine in it. But a person should see to it that it has small cups. The cup, halachically, should be able to hold 3 ounces. Not to say that you have to drink the whole 3 ounces if you can't, but it should be able to hold 3 ounces. If a person wants to drink a little bit more than half of that, that is fine. It could do that. Okay, so lachatchila, we should drink the whole cup, right? If they can't, they could drink most of the cup. That means a little bit more than the half. Ladies are obligated in the kiddush of Yom Tov, and they could even be motzi men for the kiddush, right? There's some places I know that the ladies make their own seder, right? It's a lot of ladies, and they have a lady that could explain to them very well. They make their own seder. They have fun, and then the men do it separately. I don't know how it works by dayenu though. I don't think they will do dayenu. It's not going to work. Now, once we make kiddush, right away, a person should lean and drink. Kadesh urchatz. Now, this rechitza, this washing is for karpas, but we have to remember one thing. If a person is very hungry at this point, this is the time to eat. Why? Because when he eats enough, he makes a boreh nefashot. And that boreh nefashot will be for the food that he ate. If he ate the karpas, this is the kicker. If he ate the celery, which he dipped in the vinegar or in the salt water, right? And he made the boreh priyadama. This boreh priyadama, you should have in mind that this boreh priyadama goes on the lettuce, the maror that he will have after Netilat Yadayim, right? After Netilat Yadayim, that means after the Haggadah, we're going to eat maror. Over there, we make Asher Kiddishanu V'Suvasanu Al Achilat Maror. Where is the ha'adama? You don't make this ha'adama and the karpas. That's one of the reasons why we eat the karpas. In order to do that, If he makes a bor nefashot after this, that'll cut the bor peri adama. The peri adama won't go on that maror. So if a person is very hungry, and it could happen, this is the time. Right after Kiddush, it's the time. You want to have some polochoresh, you want to have something, that's the time to do it. You eat it, make a bor nefashot, and that's it. Right? Of course, don't eat a lot, but that's the idea. It should be done before the karpas, and that's it. Now, for urchatz, a person washes his hands like he would wash for bread. 3 on the right, 3 on the left. Better not to talk, because it says tekef lemintila beracha, like they should be immediately following one another. So the beracha would be the beracha bor peri adama over here in this case, and a person better not to talk. If you talk, it's fine. You don't have to wash again. What do? We dip it in the vinegar or salt water. If we have lemon juice, pure lemon juice, that's not good, because it's fruit juice, and for dipping something in a fruit juice, we don't wash our hands. It didn't need to wash. What do we do if we have only that lemon juice? Put some water in it. Once most of it is water, that would be good. We could still dip in that, and that's it. Now, this dipping, again, one reason is to have a ha'adama that could go on that. Another reason is for kids to say, hey, what are we doing? So therefore we should eat less. It's not an achila. Every time the Torah says to eat, we have to eat at least a kazait, an ounce. So here, this is not something that is achila, that we have to eat, so therefore we should eat an ounce. We only need to eat a little bit just for that. Another thing to remember, there is on the Seder table, we should have, Kabbalistically, there should be there's a matzah here, there's an egg here, there's a zeroa, that broiled wing or the animal leg, whatever it is, and then you have the maror, you have charaset. There is a set thing Kabbalistically to do. Sometimes people take the celery and they don't leave anything on the table. We should at least leave one little piece in there to keep that setting until after we finish eating the maror, right? Until after once you finish eating the maror already, then even if it gets messed up, that is fine. So this is so we have kadesh, urchatz, karpas. Yachas is breaking the matzah. Yachas, magid. Now magid is the mitzvah of the night. Everybody is obligated to talk about the story of Yetziat Mitzrayim. Just one small thing. The Haggadah is really set up on 4 pesukim in Parashat Kitavot, and that is what we explain word by word, every word of it. Lady should understand the whole concept, and let's say a woman, better to read, right? Many people, they have one person reading and leading, and he'll explain everything to everyone. Sometimes they get tired, sometimes they miss it, they walk out. They should read the Haggadah, everyone, men and women. If a lady doesn't understand the Hebrew, no problem. You should read it in any language that you could understand. Translation. It's not a problem at all, but it is an obligation to go ahead. There's a question if ladies, the obligation is from the Torah or rabbinic, but either way, we say that one should go ahead, everyone should go ahead and do it. Let's say a woman fell asleep. She's not sure, did I say the Haggadah? Did I not say the Haggadah? She doesn't have to go back, right? She doesn't have to go back, but if she does go back, at least she should say the words Pesach, Matzah, Umaror, and also explain why we should say those things. That's an extremely important thing. Now, another thing to just point out, after the Haggadah, we drink the second cup of wine. After that, we wash our hands with the baracha this time. Now, there's 2.5 matzot. One is the matzah that we broke, and there's a whole one on the top and on the bottom. The whole one is for hamotzi. The broken one is for the matzah. Only on the 2 nights of Pesach, on matzah, we make a asher kiddushanu v'misutav v'sivanu al achilat matzah. The rest of the days of Pesach, if you want to eat matzah, we do not make the baracha of asher kiddushanu v'misutav al achilat matzah. We make a hamotzi. Right? That's clear. So only on this night. So the idea is like this: from the top matzah, they give every person. That's for hamotzi. From the middle matzah, the broken matzah, they give everyone. That is the mitzvah of the matzah. That's why some people eat 2 2 ounces of matzah, one for the hamotzi, one for this. If a person can't, they don't have to. One will suffice. Another thing, the minimum amount is 1 ounce, which is 27 grams. If someone has a hard time eating 27 grams of matzah, they could eat 18 grams of matzah. It's better to weigh them like before, especially if you have a digital scale. Definitely must be used before. You can't use it on Yom Tov or Shabbat. It's better to weigh. Why? Because you don't want to eat too much. It gets stomachache. You can't do. So a lot of people, because of that, they weigh from before, they bag him and they have him ready, and they just give it out to all the guests and everyone who is around the table. It'll make things much easier. Otherwise, you would have to assess, this is a kazait, this is not a kazait, and so on and so forth. Is this 18 grams? For some people, it's extremely hard to eat more. So that's for matzah. And then you have the maror. Maror also has to be a kazait. That's, as we mentioned before, you got to definitely make sure with the bugs and everything. And then we have the korech, where we put 1 kazait of matzah together with 1 kazait of maror. Again, for ladies, it could be less. 18 grams will be enough. Put them together. And the maror, you have to dip it in the charoset, but don't have too much of it. It's okay. You'll get a chance to eat the charoset with the korech as much as you like. With the korech also, we have to lean. And then we have the meal. After the meal, we eat the afikoman, right? Better to eat the matzah and the maror at least before midnight, before 12:45, right? That's for sure. But the time permitting, that's this year because it's late, so that's why we should try to keep with the timetable. And then after the afikoman, we say Birkat Hamazon. After Birkat Hamazon, we drink the 3rd cup. And then we finish the halal with a baracha, we drink the 4th cup, and Baruch Hashem is done. One thing to mention I wanted to mention, wine. Best thing is to drink wine. So therefore we should get a low alcohol wine, because you don't want to get drunk. You drink it, you won't be able to do the seder properly. If something's got 18% alcohol, it's not going to cut it. If a person cannot drink wine, so then they should drink grape juice, is fine. Put a little bit of wine in it. And even if that doesn't even work, so then just go straight grape juice. And if you want to have a straight wine for the last one, so you could go to sleep, that's good. One more thing I just want to mention, Eruv Tavshilin. For the 2nd set of Yom Tov, being that Yom Tov is on Friday and Shabbat, we should make Eruv Tavshilin. Be'ezrat Hashem, we should. This year already, we should be able to do it in Yerushalayim, who knows, with the Beit HaMikdash. Amen. Thank you.